watermelon, fried chicken, and Kool-Aid. That's too black for me.
I was about to say, bro.
That's too black for me.
For real? You wouldn't.
It's great flavored Kool-Aid too.
You forgot the grape.
No, this was a thing I saw on IG. On IG.
In the pool party?
What?
In the pool party.
No, why was it a pool party? It was just this guy, he was black, showing a recipe to make. He did a cutout of watermelon, and it was chicken shaped, fried like a chicken drumstick. And then it was coated, and then and
he hated it.
No, he hated it. Oh, he loved it.
No,
he loved it. I swear, I'm not gonna be able to find the video, but he loved it. And he doused it in a batter, then he doused it in Kool-Aid, great flavored Kool-Aid, and then he doused it in the batter again and fried it. And he ate it, and he was like, bussin'. I'm dead ass.
Nah, bro. Ain't no way that was busting.
I mean, I like trying new things. I'm an adventurous guy, but not for that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think you
not
would try that.
No. You know what I am adventurous about?
About what?
Talking about kind of controversial topics.
Yeah, you're feeling pretty adventurous.
Ooh,
right?
I'm feeling out there. I mean, I kind of also wanted to target. I feel like we're two guys having a podcast talking about games. The niche, the demographic is predominantly going to be men. You know, not. I mean, I would like more women to listen to our podcast, but I mean, that's just the nature of what we're talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I feel like there's not as many women. There's more women now than there ever has been playing video games now.
I agree.
100%. And I would say there are definitely more female protagonists in video games than there ever have been.
Yeah.
Than there ever have been.
It's been like a surge of them.
A surge?
Yeah.
You make it sound like a problem.
Huh? It's not, it is not a problem. I mean, is it a problem?
Oh, why are you backpedaling? You're sweating now.
I am. You said it's controversial. So.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I mean, it depends. I mean, you can get controversial on it if you want, but it's kind of something that Pedro and I wanted to notice. And we're just like, hey, why don't we just talk about it? See where it goes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the latest episode of the LeisureHub Podcast. We are your hosts, Justin and
Pedro.
With a P. With a P. And we got a special one for you guys today. The negative stigma behind female protagonists. Now, what does that exactly mean? We will get there momentarily. And don't you click off the button, or I'll click off the video. Stay on. Actually, there's one little segment that we want to do because we haven't done this in the very beginning before we get started.
What's up?
If you are watching this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe on wherever you're watching it, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, or not Facebook, we don't do that. YouTube. No, we don't do that. YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast, please go ahead, give us a like, dislike, I don't really care, comment, subscribe. It helps us out a lot, just trying to get our videos out there a little bit more, our conversations out there a little bit, and the comments really help us kind of figure out what you guys like. So, yeah, just do that now, right now, and ding that bell on YouTube if you're on YouTube. Well, I guess you could do it on Spotify and Apple Music for notifications.
You gotta have them notifications.
Always notifications. Just only our notifications.
That's it.
But yeah, we wanted to talk about female protagonists, the stigma behind it, because I feel like at times there can be a little bit of complaining about females or women being the main focal point of a video game. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes, there's a lot of complaining, especially with you know what? I'll just let you. I'll let you.
No, this is an open conversation for us, my guy.
Just let you lead.
Pedro's like, I want to make sure I'm not. He's like, I got a wife back home that listens to the podcast, and if I get home and all of her stuff is gone, then
what I was gonna say is that like a lot of these arguments sometimes lead to nothing.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's a conversation. It's you kind of just share your perspective of it. I try to remain as indifferent as I possibly can because obviously there's two sides to each thing. I think we're prolonging it a little bit too much, but
yeah, fuck it.
The rise of female protagonists in gaming. Obviously, it's like we said earlier, it's become way more predominant in gaming than it ever has been before. So, like, obviously, we have Horizon Forbidden West. We have Last of Us Part 2, mainly because Ellie became the main focal point.
After the first one.
Forspoken. And, I mean, Princess Peach has always had her own... had her games, but recently she's been getting a little bit more attention, especially in the Mario movie. She kind of like took a little bit of the lead. Like she instead of Mario being like the badass hero, like she was the badass hero. Exactly. and she's like, because I guess like there was a whole period of gaming, not just gaming. Well, I guess you could predominantly say gaming, but there was this whole era of gaming where there was a damsel in distress. I mean, look at The Legend of Zelda. Like Link was always going to rescue Zelda. Mario always going to rescue Peach. Like there was just kind of like, oh, I'm a helpless woman and I can't defend myself. But big strong Mario, big strong Mario, 4 foot tall plumber Mario,
big nose,
mustache, can come and save me. Link is probably the only one I could be like, you know what, he's goated for that. But I mean, I guess he never really did it with the intention to like get anything out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think Mario's trying to get something out of it?
Oh, 100%. He wants Peach.
He wanted the cheeks.
He wanted the peach.
He wanted the peach. Okay.
This is why we don't have women listen to our podcast. This is exactly why. But I feel like now it's not just like women as a background character. Now it's not just, hey, it's just a man who ends up saving this woman, or there's like a cheerleader in the background, or overly scandalous. I feel like it's like, hey, they're the badass. They're the ones that are doing the killing. They're the one that are doing the hard work while the man is kind of sitting in the back. And he's like, well, I can't do it. And it's like, yeah, well, stop being a little guy and why don't you get up there too and help her out? I don't know. But the point is like, there have been some in the gaming community who have had an issue with that shift in attention.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what to blame it on, or I
mean, we always want to find something to blame something on, but
like it's not, maybe some people are being sexist, maybe not. I see the female protagonist as like just another character. I've always seen it like that. And going back with Tomb Raider, all the way back to the PS1, I never seen it any different than just a character. But now since we've seen like multiple female characters in place, like we have Horizon, right? Like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Even Control.
Yeah. I forgot about Control, but Control is a really good game. But
you said really good game. Yeah, so now we're diving into the topic of like, it is a female protagonist, but is it also a good game? Mm-hmm. I know you were talking about Forspoken.
Oh yeah, Forspoken has another female lead, but personally, I thought that I played maybe about 3 hours of the game, and I thought the game was ass. And it had
it's not because there's a female.
No, it had no correlation to it being a female character at all. I wanted to really like the game. The biggest issue with this game, and for those of you who don't know what this game is, I'll break it down for you. Basically, what the game is this: there is a female protagonist. I don't remember her name honestly, But I'm telling you, this game.
Now you sexist.
I am. Call me out for it. Drop it in the comments. Engage. Clickbait, baby. No. She's in New York. She's in this like she's in a bad group with a bad group of people.
Okay.
She ends up going to court. Like police caught her, whatever. So the reason why she ended up like being this group or this gang or whatever who wanted to collect money or steal some car, and instead of her doing that, she ran away from them. They tried to burn her apartment down or her house down. So she was trying to gather enough money so that way she could end up leaving New York and go to somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I'm explaining the first part of the game.
I was about to say, you're telling the whole story, bro. Like,
it's a semi fantasy game, realistic fantasy game, open world game where she ends up getting taken from the real world into this fantasy style world.
Kind of like the Animus from Assassin's Creed.
Yes, yeah. And then she ends up getting this magical bracelet that can do magical powers or whatever. And she gets several different powers throughout the game. But that's the basic premise. And she has to save this world, this fantasy world, so that way she can get back to the real world, Earth, or New York, I guess, if you want to call that. My biggest concern with the game was not that it was a female protagonist, not the powers. I thought like later on in the game was really, really cool. It's that the first 2 to 3 hours of the game is just tutorial. It's way too long. And the writing, the way that they wrote her as a character was just subpar. Like they didn't make her super interesting. They didn't like, and then like they made the bracelet is a talking bracelet.
Yeah.
So the bracelet, it was just like banter between them two. But then you get to a point in the game where you're wondering, when am I actually going to do stuff?
Yeah.
And they give you like some like little chunks where you're actually where you're playing some of the game. You'll fight a dragon at one point, but you don't actually kill it. Your intention is not to kill it or whatever. But then there's like a whole bunch of dialogue, a whole bunch of cutscenes, and I'm all for cinema. I love games that have a cinematic like you know, Uncharted, Horizon, Last of Us. Like I'm all for that. But it had the pacing, it has to be interesting. I just felt like it was very dull. Right? And I don't know if that was like the community's general reception of that game, like, or if it was because it was a female protagonist. I can only imagine there's some people that didn't pick it up because it was another female protagonist.
Yeah.
I have seen comments before on Instagram or wherever else, and it's like, oh, here we go again, another female protagonist who's a badass. And it's like, okay, well, what's wrong with that? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, like look at Lara Croft, look at Aloy. You know, they're all. I mean, Ellie.
Yeah, I think
badass.
I think the only reason why people had an issue with Ellie was because she ended up becoming the main protagonist in Last of Us.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of bitter, not because of that. I was kind of bitter because of who died.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing with The Last of Us was that they ended up making her gay. Or
a lot of people weren't okay with that.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, what are we looking at the game here for?
So now we could look at Forspoken and we could look at The Last of Us. Now, if we look at Forspoken, you know, people that do feel a certain way because of a female protagonist is gonna look at that game.
And not even to give it a second or like a glance.
And then when they hear that it did bad, they're going to blame it on, that's why, you know, you can't force the females in the games because, you know, this is what happens. You know, they can't accept the fact that it's just a bad game.
Yeah.
Like there is plenty of games out there with male protagonists that are bad, but you don't blame them. You don't blame it on, it's because it's a male protagonist.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be fair on both sides.
Yeah.
Now you look at The Last of Us, you know, Ellie did turn out to be gay, right? And if they were forcing it, maybe they were forcing it, okay? Maybe, and if they were, at least it was a really good game. I enjoyed
with a really great story.
Yeah, right. And that's something you cannot take away from the game. Like, yeah, and also I'm not eliminating the possibility that nowadays they are trying to implement more diversity, more inclusion into these games. Yeah, you see it all around.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with that. I feel like a lot of people don't have problems with this.
That's not
but
what you told me.
Oh, bro, come on, bro. We're in the podcast.
Oh shit. I guess we gotta say that later.
Say nah. But a lot of people don't have a problem with that. I feel like the majority of people don't have a problem with that. But like
you get the small.
But then
group
there's
of people.
a group of loud individuals.
Oh my God.
You know.
Yeah.
That either in the internet or whatever, that do consider that part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know, do consider that a major part of the problem, just because they're this, just because they're that, and just they don't look at the game itself.
Yeah. I guess to that point, I see it as like I guess you have to have forms of representation, right? Like you have to have diversity, and I don't mean I guess you have to have that in a game. But we were talking about briefly Battlefield 5. I didn't know a lot about it. Because we were looking up like games that were kind of like controversial, and Battlefield 5 ended up coming up. And what did you told me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I know Battlefield 5 when it first got presented. You know, it's a World War II game, and I think it has a female protagonist in the cover.
Oh, let's just double check that.
Yeah, double check that, bro. Fact checked right now.
Checking the Carfax
live
right now.
Yeah. So and the fact that, I mean, to be honest, bro, I cannot tell you.
Yeah, it does have a.
It does.
It does
right?
have a female on it. Yeah.
And it was very controversial to the time when the game came out. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, people started researching on like whether women were in World War II or not, whether this and that.
I mean, I don't think it takes too much brain power to figure that one out.
You know what I mean? It's like, but the thing is, it may have been perceived as forced,
right?
In that sense,
right? Yeah, yeah. And that's when I like. And this is not just for female protagonists. This is for everything else too. Like personally, like if you're gonna make a movie that is an accurate representation of that time period, which they make a lot of movies that are historical, right? Yeah. Honestly, like if you have, they're like Bridgerton. Have you ever watched? Heard of that? It was a Netflix series.
I heard about it.
It's like I don't even barely know how to describe it, but basically it takes place in like a olden London type of vibe or whatever, like 1800s or something like that. But the thing is, they have black characters walking around in like luxury. I guess it's not necessarily supposed to be historically accurate, so I guess I can't use that one as like a representation. But if you're using something that's historical, like a war, for example, like obviously you want to try to be diverse, but you want to be accurate. You want to be historically accurate. Like women weren't allowed to fight in World War II. Yeah, like that's kind of the realization of it. And if Battlefield 5, was that the intention? Was it supposed to be historically accurate for World War II, right? Or
I'm assuming. I mean, if you're making, unless you're trying to make it like your own little spin to it. But that's the thing. It's a game.
It is a game, but
you know
like,
what I mean?
Yeah, but I think if you're trying to accurately convey a specific war or something like that, I don't think you should be putting. That's not the place for diversity. If you're trying to be historically accurate, right. That's my thing. I like, and that goes for movies as well. Like if there's a scene where there's a certain era where black people technically wouldn't have been like roaming around normally, I just don't think that you can really place them in that scenario. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think that's fitting the story you're going for if you're trying to be historically accurate. Now, if you don't care about that and you're going for more like a loose interpretation and you want to have like your own creative spin on it, and it's like it takes place in this era, but it's also very like fictional. It's not. It's fictional or whatever. obviously that's the place for doing anything. Like you can have whatever you want in it.
Right.
But if you were doing like, I don't know, like but at the same time you could argue, well, if you did something from like the 70s where racism was like higher, right, or more active than it is now, you could say, well, like then people would just be pushing the agenda for showing like racism and like
never win.
So you never win.
You never win.
Yeah. So it's like, but I don't know. I think there are times to, like, in terms of a story, it doesn't help develop the story further by pushing an agenda. That
yes, I agree.
Like you can, like, I think you can mention that there's like a female protagonist, or that the person, like the female or male character protagonist is gay, or you can mention that there's a black character in it, but you don't have to write it in a way that it's like you can kind of just imply it, like, oh, clearly they like women, but it's not to the point where it's like that's the not in your face, but it's the entire story. It's like, okay, like, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you can represent it without having to over-represent it. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you told me about this about the Puerto Rican culture. Sometimes the Puerto Ricans here, it's like they'll have, or you did this. You had Puerto Rican sandals and Puerto Rican shirt, like a Puerto Rican flag shirt. It's like
in your face.
Yeah, in your
Puerto
face.
Rican.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm Puerto Rican. It's like, bro, no one cares.
Yeah,
like that kind of thing. And it's like you can represent something without having to be over representative of it. And I guess if that's kind of like what I was saying about it.
Yeah, it's like kind of like if the more you trying to let yourself be exposed to the world of who like you truly are, quote unquote, it's like the less you are perceived as that. If you get what I mean. The more you try to prove yourself or something, like the less you are perceived of that you're trying to prove. Yeah,
I ran into stuff like that. It's like well, because obviously I'm half black, half Puerto Rican. So
are you?
I'm biracial.
Logic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it's like there was a big point in time where I was like heavily trying to like promote that I was biracial, like that. I'm not just black, because people see me and I'm like, oh, you're black. I'm like, well, I'm not just black, I'm this too.
Yeah.
And it's like at a certain point, like it's like they try to make that their identity. It's like you can't just make that your identity. Like you are more than just your cultural background. Like you're your own person. Like you have other interests and other things about you than just this specific thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of have a choice. Do you want to be completely represented as this type of person, or do you want to be represented as something that's like that overlooks like those specifics? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or do I need to explain that a little bit more for you?
Explain it a little bit more.
No, I don't want to. I've been rambling a little bit too much about the rise of female protagonists in gaming, which personally I think we don't have enough of. I think even now, as many as common as it is, there's still not as many female protagonists as there are men. So like, I mean, you can balance it out, but also
is it because of the demographic?
Well, I did think about that, right? Like gaming has predominantly been a hobby that a lot of men have liked. A lot of games are usually been developed with guys in mind, with men in mind.
Yeah,
as demographic.
Like the First Ascendant. Look at that.
The what?
The First Ascendant.
What is that?
The game.
What
Thirsty. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, is it? So is it very? Like, does it over sexualize women or something like
Overly. That? The game is good though.
Yeah.
The game is good. They just capitalized on men's ways.
Yeah, that's like Stellar Blade.
Turn that to 100. Turn that to 1,000. That's the First Ascendant, bro.
There's a volleyball game.
Oh man, you've been ranting about this volleyball game.
Because I watched Game Grumps play it, but
yeah, the First Ascendant, overly thirsty.
Yeah,
like the stuff for that.
You were right. It is Dead or Alive.
Is it
Dead or Alive?
Man, I told you, cuz.
Right here, it's an extreme beach volleyball, and like this is like the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle of early 2000 games where no one gave a shit about anything they were pumping out. So this was made in 2003. It's, as you can imagine, it's volleyball and it's on a beach and it's women in the most like scampy bikinis you can possibly imagine, and clearly it was developed and designed for men. This is
great.
Oh my god, I don't even like volleyball. But this is that's the demographic that it was created for. And bro, I mean, the only thing I'll say is before we continue going forward is the way you perceive things is how, or perception and perceiving are not two different things, but I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I was about to say,
you're like, what?
I'm trying, bro. I'm really trying here, bro.
But
I'm really trying.
The way you see things at the end of like the way you see a game, right? Like whether it's sexist, whether it's like accurate, whether it's like a good thing, it's all about perception.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you want to say that the game was bad because there was a female protagonist,
okay,
that's purely your perception.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it right necessarily, and it doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah.
It kind of just means that you need to like evaluate it from a different perspective, I guess.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, because you're talking about about a perspective.
Yeah.
It just brings me back to The Last of Us 2 when it came. I think it came around, spring of 2019, either or. And there was a lot of backlash, not only on the person who died, but what Ellie turned out to be.
Oh, I thought you were gonna refer to Abby.
Oh, I'll get there.
Okay.
So there was a lot of backlash on shut up, man. on different aspects of the game, right? And I feel like while all that was going on, people arguing over the internet, whether it was a thing or that, whether it should be or not, you and I were just playing the game and enjoying it to the fullest. Like, we didn't really give a fuck about like whether she was gay or whether playing as Abby or how Abby looks monstrous. Abby does look freaking monstrous.
She's huge. Like Jack was.
She's
Jack.
Bro. Like
honestly, like I remember like playing the game and like I don't know. It's just like, to me, it's a game. Like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with playing a female character. What's the like? I just don't see the difference. Like, to me, like, yeah, one's a girl, one's a guy, but I just don't see the difference in like play.
One's a girl, one's a guy.
I don't. And playing it.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I thought you meant Abby. Abby's a girl.
Like, what would be different if it was a man? If you were like shooting a bow and arrow as Joel? It's the same thing.
It's not. But I will tell you this: like, playing as a female, it gives a little flavor to the story, because like, when you think of heroes, when you think of like a badass characters, most of the time it's males. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but you're incorporating a female into that role, right? Mm-hmm. It makes it even more interesting. Yeah. If you do it right, of course. If you do it right, it makes it even more interesting. And it is a game. It's a playground. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember you and I just playing The Last of Us 2 and enjoying the game for what it was. Mm-hmm. Even though if it was a female, even though it was a female protagonist, both sides of the story. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned perspective, because like you got to dive into Ellie's perspective and then into Abby's perspective. Yeah. The game is so much more than just Ellie and Abby being a female and Ellie being gay and everything else that happened. Yeah. The game is so much more than that. It's just giving you basically a new game on perspective. Before the game came out, I don't know if you know about this, but do you remember that in one of the trailers, one of the heated things about Abby was that people speculated that she was trans? Yeah. And I'm like, bro, she's jacked though.
She is jacked.
I don't blame them.
Well, they also never really specified in the game whether she used steroids or not, because that's how big she is. And again, spoiler alert: if by the end of the game she's like scrawny, like because she ended up getting captured and she was being tortured, and they didn't feed her at all, so she was like a stick by the time Ellie ended up finding her. But yeah, people were before the game even came out, people were speculating that she was trans, and it's like, dude, I truly don't think you can complain about a game if you have not played it yet. Yeah, you can't complain about it.
There's so many scenarios where that happens, though.
But we talked a little bit about forced diversity a little bit, because like, you know, you're portraying, you're placing a character in areas where, like, you know, World War II, where typically, like, if that's not the vibe that you're going for, it's probably not the area where you should be shifting a character into, or placing a character into. Pandering and then not realistic. But one of the roles of internet culture and toxic gaming community is fueled in controversy. People, I think, honestly, we talked about this before. I think people love to hate on shit. Yeah, they get off by it, and it's not necessarily that they hate it, but it's like they see other people hating it and they want to jump in on it too. Yeah, and it's like, why? When you can just be enjoying the game like a normal person. Yeah,
I'm right. I'm wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. That's what I meant.
I don't know, man.
People just focus on that.
I don't know, man. I think the importance of representation in gaming is like, I think it's good. I mean, personally, like, kind of this goes back to like the whole Last of Us 2. I know we've been talking about Last of Us 2 a lot, but I never really cared the ethnicity or gender that I was playing as. No. I just was hoping that I was doing cool shit.
Yeah, I think that's a new thing. You know, it's more of like a modern, you know, people worrying about who they're playing as and what's going on.
But why? Why do you think? Why do you think people care now? Is it because like all of the different agendas that people, sorry, not agendas, but different views that people have now?
Yeah, I think the more you do it, it's like what we talked about earlier. Like the more, like me with the Puerto Rican bling, the more you're trying to expose yourself, it's like the less you're perceived as like, okay, bro, are you trying to prove something? Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing. It's like right now we're seeing a blow up on diversity in all kinds of games.
It's like be proud of that you're different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like as a society and as culture, we are on that wave. So I feel like it's gonna hit the game. It's gonna hit the gaming industry, and people are just going to be like, why are you going with it? But meanwhile, like, the game has to be good. Yeah, and it's just a matter of perspective, really. Yeah, too, because do you know any game that feels forced
for having like just diversity in it or something like that?
Any, like, I'm trying to think of it, and it's like, I don't know if I have played any.
I don't know any games, but I know movies have definitely been very forced for that. Like Ghostbusters, the one with they're all female cast.
Clearly,
it's there's a point where like you're just making something to just fill the void. Like, it wasn't even needed. Who was okay, realistically, and this is not me hating on that. It's all women in a Ghostbusters movie, but like, who was asking for that? Yeah, like in general, like who was asking for another Ghostbusters remake? First off, second, who was asking for the whole cast to be female? For which, may I remind you, the movie did not do well. Whether that was from a negative reception of it all being women or it was just poorly written, I don't know, because I didn't watch the movie. But from the reviews, it didn't do well. Oh, you know what show really pissed me off because they were heavy on pushing the agenda? She-Hulk.
So you get
I think She-Hulk is a crazy cool character.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first character that broke the fourth wall. It wasn't Deadpool. Deadpool took a lot of his, like, the character has a lot of inspiration from She-Hulk, from like the original 80s comics. And this is something that I found on a video.
Okay, I'm learning right now.
But in the Netflix series, the series had overwhelmingly positive reviews when the show itself wasn't that great. And I feel like the only reason why people advocated for the show is because it was a female focused superhero movie. And it's like, she's a great character. There's nothing wrong with She-Hulk. It's how it was written. Personally, like, the show had this build up to get to a certain point for it to then not matter.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
So now you're looking at the other side. So
exactly.
It's like, yeah, there's people that backlash because there's a female protagonist, but there's also a group of people that support a product mainly because there is a female protagonist. But both sides are wrong.
Yes.
In a way, like you shouldn't look at it that way. Yeah. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah, and it's like, I say this all the time. You can't just base a piece of entertainment based off of a review. You can't base it off of, oh, well, there's a female protagonist, or there's a female character as the lead. You can't base it off of whether there's like gay or transgender. You can't. That should not be how you determine whether a game, movie, or show is good.
No, you should determine whether a game or a movie is good based on how good the plot is, how good is put together, basically the art of it.
Yes. Yeah. Like the whole time, She-Hulk, she defied being like the other version of Hulk because she wanted to do it her way. The whole reason, like her reasoning for being able to master the Hulk form was because I don't have any really preference against this statement, but her statement was like Bruce Banner is he's always angry, but She-Hulk said that she has more anger to deal with because she's a female. That was her reasoning.
Is that corny? That was a little corny.
I think that's kind of corny.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't think that's well written. I mean, they explained it. It's like, oh well, women have to go around like doing this all day, like which there was truth in what she said, but I just don't, for like She-Hulk, I don't. I've never read the original comics, but something tells me that's not how the original creator intended She-Hulk to be. I think a little bit of her origin was there, but then a little bit of woke agenda was thrown into her character, which is like, I feel like you're missing the point of She-Hulk in general. Like, I don't know. I just, my biggest complaint was, again, that she tried to defy, well, one of my biggest complaints was she tried to defy the Hulk, like, her turning into the Hulk by, like, no, this is like Bruce's thing. Like, I don't need this because I'm a female. I don't need to do this. Yeah. But then she ends up using it anyway.
Right.
So then you literally contradict yourself. Like, everything that you were preaching in the first half of the series, you end up contradicting in the last half. So I just don't see how, like, you can sit and watch through a series, She-Hulk. You may enjoy it because of the actress. I don't remember her name, but she's a very good actress. Let me look her up really quick.
She-Hulk. I've never seen that. Not yet, at least.
Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. She's a great actor. I think she played the role as best as she possibly could. I just realized that the majority of the cast is all female. So I definitely think there was more than just, hey, let's make a She-Hulk movie. I think it was definitely more like, hey, let's be progressive here by having all female cast.
Yeah. Do you think that hurt the show itself? Like,
do you mean overall review wise, or do you mean like,
no, them focusing on that aspect? Do you think?
For me, yes, and that's not just because I'm a guy saying that, but I think that because I don't know if I want to say this on the podcast or not.
You want me to say it?
No, this is you go ahead say it. But I think it's kind of like the Tyler Perry. It's strictly just me. I if it's just me, that's fine. But it's strictly like the Tyler Perry movies. Like I understand the mission of having like being black owned and like it's all black and we have no white creators. But then like I feel like then you're kind of gatekeeping. Yeah. Like your own show by only having this specific ethnicity represented. It's like if you want to truly be diverse, you should have a mixture of people. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like
diversity should be on both ends.
Yes. It shouldn't just be like, well, because we were oppressed, now we're only just going to have just this one demographic in the movie. I feel like then now it's not accurately. Now it's not being not accurately. Now it's not being represented for diversity at all. It's only being It's only being diversified for one agenda and not for encompassing all. Yeah. Like I think if like this the female cast for She-Hulk has a spectrum of different ethnicities for women, but like there was like 2 guys in it or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But like there's only like a few. Not saying that there needs to have men in it to be good, because you could say the opposite just because it's a movie predominantly with men and it doesn't have any women in it. I think you need to have a balance to both sides. I don't think you should have a movie of this caliber where it's predominantly like owned by this demographic. And I don't mean just women. I mean like whether it's black or whether it's Hispanic, whether it's whatever. It
doesn't matter.
Unless, again, this goes back to the accurate representation. Unless you say, let's say you go and the location of the thing, the game or movie was shot in, say, Japan. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have a diverse pool of like cultures there because it's predominantly Japanese. Right. Like that's a case scenario where like, okay, yeah, it's mainly Japanese. That's the culture there. That's predominantly the demographic that's there. I think you have to tailor to that. I don't know. That's just me.
No, I don't. I think I agree with it.
Yeah. But overall, diversity does matter, and I think it kind of goes against the whole in terms of importance of representation. I think it goes against the whole movement, right? I believe in women empowerment, but like if hypothetically, if women are getting charged less for something, but men get charged more for the same product, just because they're a man, the roles are reversed because it was like the roles are reversed. Well, men did this, so and women got less of this, but you know what I mean? But like, I don't think it at that point, if you do it the other way around, you're playing tit for tat. It's like, well, you did this to me, so now I'm going to do it to you. Yeah. I don't think it should be like that because that's not
progressive.
It's not progressive. Yeah. And then at that point, you're not being diverse because now you purposely are excluding people or another gender or ethnicities from this thing because you just want to make a point.
Yeah, you turn into the very thing you were fighting against.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's where, for me, the problem at least lies. And it's not necessarily that like it's all women or all black or all one thing, but it's like you can't fight against the thing that you were previously fighting. You can't be the thing that you were fighting against.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you go back like in time, and I don't know too many of female protagonists.
Before dinosaurs or
no. Like let's say 2000s.
What? That's back in time?
Yeah, that is back in time.
That was like 25 years ago.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But like you see Metroid, you see Tomb Raider, these were females that were not put into the gaming industry during this whole female empowerment wave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm all for female empowerment, but back then you wouldn't see that movement. At least that I know of. You know, maybe there was, but now you see these games, they're not focused on female power,
right?
You know, Lara Croft is not focused on female power. It's just focused on a good story or a good gameplay. Same thing with Metroid, you know, a good story, good gameplay. But is that what we would need to look at today? Like today, I know there is a big, you know, controversial topic around that. Is that what we need to focus? Like bring back the focus on what a hero is. A hero doesn't need to be a male. A hero doesn't need to be a female. Maybe a hero is more portrayed by a male because that's what we've been used to.
Yeah, I just think you need to generalize it.
Yeah,
I don't think it needs to be this special thing. I don't think it needs to be this whole woke agenda thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm looking at you, Derek. I hope you're watching this right now because he's really big. Derek. He's really because I'm not saying he's against woke agenda. I'm not saying that at all. But he's against woke agenda when it's overly forced. Yeah. There's like when there's like a woke agenda, like he talks about it a lot. And pardon me, Derek, if I'm butchering it. So like just DM me or something like that. But yeah, sorry. What were you saying?
No, yeah, that's it. It's like we need to generalize it in a way.
Yeah, because that's a really good point. Because when you generalize it, like, do you like Supergirl? I know you like Superman, but like, do you like Supergirl?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Besides that one's a guy and one's a girl.
Not much. I don't think.
They're both heroes though, right? But they're both defined by like how they handle their powers, et cetera, et cetera. I think when you start injecting like extra things like motives and like storytelling in it that's unrelated to the character development, I think that's when you start losing people. At least me. Yeah. Like to your point with Lara Croft, like there's almost like, I mean, besides her being the protagonist, the main character, there's really no agenda that they're portraying with her. She's just a character who likes to find treasures.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, I think, what we're implying when we say like generalize. Like, I don't think you have to like, oh, well, in the story, we got to make sure in the second half of the game, we really emphasize that she doesn't need help from men because men, like, you don't need to do that.
But if Lara Croft were created today, I feel like.
Which they are remaking it, right? I thought they were doing like another one or remaking.
Oh, that's tough. I think so.
And Tomb Raider is the current Tomb Raiders are one of your favorite games.
Yeah. Anyways, but so if Tomb Raider was created today, you would see a lot of like another one.
Yeah.
You know, but you wouldn't see it as the good game it is because of some people might not even buy it because it's a female because they feel like there's an agenda push, but really it's just.
I don't know if I agree with that one. The only reason why I say that is because I feel like Tomb Raider is so iconic. Like
no. I'm saying if it was created today.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't.
Yeah, I think because they see the name Tomb Raider, they just automatically associate it as like a pretty good game. At least that's the way I see Tomb Raider.
No. I'm saying if it was created today, like.
Oh, you mean like it didn't
exist.
Oh, okay.
If it was created today, there would be some speculations. People would be kind of another female game.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You know, and
they still could reboot it and do that. But I think it would ruin it.
I feel like Tomb Raider is safe from all that.
I don't know. I don't know.
You really don't think so?
No, I don't think any. Do you think Horizon had a little bit of that? I think it was very subtle.
What?
An agenda, I guess.
I think it was subtle, but
I think it was very. I didn't really notice anything odd about it, to be honest.
And it was different. The only where it felt forced a little bit in Horizon, I would say, if I had to say, it was like the whole matriarch, like the leaders were all females.
Oh,
you know,
okay. I can see what
that would be the only place where I would see maybe that's a little forced, but I enjoyed Horizon, and it was fun.
Yeah.
She turned out to be gay too. Or there was just an insinuation.
I think they were just insinuating it because she's very tomboyish, but I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, because you were about to spoil something for the game that I haven't played.
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll see. It's not really anything.
I thought that people were just implying that because she's like very fit or like very tomboy.
Nah, it's not because of that. I said because of some other stuff. But.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh, is it because of Owen asked her out on like a date and she said no?
No. It's something to do with the DLC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A Burning Shore or whatever.
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
Really good DLC though.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think accurately conveying the character to more, I think fleshing them out to their core is what makes a good character. Like what makes Aloy a good character? Aloy's from Horizon, by the way.
You asking me?
Yeah. No, I'm asking the audience. Go ahead, audience. Answer. No, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think what makes Aloy a good character is her curiosity on her identity. Mm-hmm. You know, like for example, the first game, like she was so focused on like, oh, what am I? Mm-hmm. You know, where did I come from? This and that, and she didn't care about no politics. She didn't care. She was more focused on herself rather than the problems that were going out on different tribes or whatever. She just wanted to know her origin. Yeah, because she didn't have like a mom.
She didn't know why people treated her a certain way.
Yeah, and I love that story.
Yeah,
it's just different. Yeah. I mean, if you look at
and no, it wasn't because she was a woman.
Yeah, Aloy herself is
but I guess you could imply
it's an experiment.
Yeah, but I guess you could imply that. But wait, no, you couldn't because there was other females in it, so doesn't make any sense.
Aloy itself is she was an experiment. So it's like I don't see, obviously I see her as a female, but I don't see her as for example, in Stellar Blade. Mm-hmm. Like obviously you're playing as a female, she's a very female. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Aloy is different. She is a hero. What you would see a hero, she just turned out to be a female. Mm-hmm. To me, that's subtle.
Yeah.
To me, that's not in your face. To me, that's not. If they were trying to push an agenda, I feel like they pushed it the right way.
Oh,
because it was a good game, and you know I don't mind playing as a female. It wasn't anything like out of this world. You know, it's female inclusion. That's what I call female inclusion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think what I really, 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 really like about Origins, at least stuff like this, you kind of like see how the person ends up becoming the hero, right? Mm-hmm. Like what characteristics that they have, what are they willing to stand up against, what are they willing to fight for, stuff like that, like head on, like, and a lot of times they're trying to figure stuff out as they go, like, and that's kind of like Aloy's character. It's just like taking a head on, very like courageous, adventurous, trying to like very intelligent, that kind of thing. And it's like those are all characteristics that can be encompassed by anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Like those are all characters. Yeah. But like, and she overcame adversity, and the adversity didn't have to do with what her gender was.
Female oppression, or
right?
Something like
female
that.
oppression. Yeah. What it had to do with was like a cultural oppression,
like tribe versus
tribal
type. Yeah.
Well, it was just like she really what another spoiler alert.
Oh my god!
I know, too many. Really, what the oppression for her is that she was artificially born.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say it earlier.
Yeah. So I put a spoiler alert up.
Yeah, you did.
But she was artificially born, and none of the other matriarchs knew. They were concerned about that. They were afraid of that she was artificially created.
Yeah.
Or that she just came from a machine. Like it just didn't sit well. But like
Elizabeth Sobek.
Yeah. But the point is that she ended up defining her character.
Yeah.
Like that's what I love about like origin stories the most, is because you really don't know that you're a hero until you go through all these events that end up defining you as the hero. Mm-hmm. And like that's really what shows your character the most. Is like how you handle a lot of those situations.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female.
Yeah, and I think accurately conveying that character is like the best. I think it's very difficult. I don't think there was any. I mean, I didn't see any backlash for Horizon. Did you? For it just mainly being a female protagonist.
I think we're just mentioning it because she's a female in the video game, and it was good.
Yeah. I know in anime, it's like females or women are heavily sexualized, and like we predominantly do live in a world where men do subjectively, some men, not all, objectify women as like, and they over sexualize. I mean, you can look at any form of media, right, and you could see that there are fairly, I mean, Grand Theft Auto is one where they predominantly do that. But like the thing is like they don't ever really like. The thing is like I'm not saying this is a problem, and I'm not saying it's not a problem. It is, but it's not. Is that no one said anything about how any of these were made in the past. Yeah. But now that we've gotten to where we are, now that's kind of a problem. Do you think that Rockstar, the developer for Grand Theft Auto, cracked and wanted to have a game with a female protagonist because they wanted to push an agenda? I don't know. I don't. I'm asking what you think.
I don't know. To see I feel like Grand Theft Auto they can get away with anything because they've been. I mean, it's GTA. Yeah. Like I feel like they're the ones that can get away with it. Yeah. But like a female criminal. But see, like Bonnie and Clyde type shit.
Yeah.
Like
it's balanced. Yeah. Balanced. Mm-hmm. Bonnie and Clyde. There's a reason why they mentioned. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know the historical purpose behind Bonnie and Clyde, but I mean, there's always a reason why they mentioned the first person's name first, Bonnie, and then Clyde was second. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's balanced. Yeah. To me, that's balanced. I think if you changed like every major character that was in Grand Theft Auto to be female, to me, then you're pushing it.
If the main character in GTA 6 or something was a female, it would feel like it would push. Like GTA is like probably the biggest game.
Well, I think she is going to be the main character. Well, I think you might be able to play between them both. They haven't really said.
I gotta check that out because I feel like if she's the main character, you know, the thing about this is that the reason why I'm a little bit confused, or I don't know, is that you're a female in a criminal world, you know, like a lot of fucked up shit happens in the criminal world, and you can clearly see by past GTA games. You know what I mean? Right. I just hope that with a female character, it doesn't dumb down the whole. It doesn't dumb down the twisted world of GTA. If you get what I mean. Let's say.
Why would it though? Huh? Why would it though?
For example, if you're a female character, right? In GTA, your main character, I feel like GTA would be the game that, okay, you're a female character, you're gonna see female oppression from a female's perspective. You know what I mean? Do you really get what I mean? So like, for example, let's say if women are seen as a certain view, like for example, if you see somebody in the street call a female a bitch, you know what I mean? That's, oh, you can't call a female a bitch, like that's kind of fucked up, this and that. But in GTA, you would expect to see that.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
I think I'm following. I'm trying to.
So you're a female protagonist, right? So in the world, if you're a female, right, you're there's going to be times where you're going to be oppressed by a male or this and that, right? Are you going to see that in the GTA?
Would you want to?
I see. That's the thing. It's like I don't know if I want to do that, because I'd rather play where in a world where if I'm in a criminal world, right? In a criminal world, and I don't know. I'd rather play as a male, me, in GTA.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because it's a criminal world. Like,
women can't be criminals?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like, now I'm starting to question myself. It's like in any other game, I feel like I would play as a girl. I'm okay playing as a girl. GTA, I'd rather play as a guy. I don't know if there's some people out there that agree with me. You could comment. If there's people that disagree, you can comment. But
I don't know. I just don't. To me, it's just, and it's the same as like what we were talking about with Aloy or Ellie. To me, it's the same.
I guess I'm talking more about it like online.
You mean like PvP online?
Yeah, like PvP online.
But then how is that different than playing as like Sonya Blade or what's her name? Katana in Mortal Kombat.
You're right. Because you can already play as a female online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm confused.
I don't know.
I was trying to follow you along, man.
It's the whole thing behind, like, you know, if you're, I guess it doesn't apply when you're a badass female.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Like I said, like we were also saying before, I think Rockstar will flesh her character out well.
Yeah, I think so too. I trust them.
I think like in the trailer you see her talking, she was on parole or something like that, or coming out of prison. So clearly she's had some type of like bad childhood, or like clearly some bad past, like which every Grand Theft Auto game, like they have some type of bad past where they've committed some type of crime. So I think they'll flesh out her character fairly well and who she is. And I don't necessarily think that I think they'll do more kind of like along the lines of like Aloy type of, no, but
I just don't see that in the GTA.
But in like a villain type of way.
Yeah, like
I guess
like I'm picturing her like the head of a cartel or something like that.
Yeah, like
that's the only way I can picture it, unless they change. I feel like they can change my mind.
Oh, I mean, I think Rockstar has done fairly well with writing, that they know how to write a character, like Franklin or Michael from Grand Theft Auto. Like, personally, I think Trevor was just kind of all over the place, but I think that was kind of the point with his character. So I think she's definitely gonna be. I see. Like, we've only had one trailer, so it's kind of really hard to discern who she's going to be.
Okay, but like
or how she's going to be.
Let's say if she was the main character, we don't know how she's going to be.
Yeah.
How would you want her to be?
I just wanted her to be a badass character. That's pretty much it. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's obviously like not a hero because she's committing crime. So she's like your typical badass who robs places. She wants to commit crime, steals cars, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Like a trap queen.
She's my trap queen.
But like, is she a trap queen? Like,
But I think what I'm trying to say is I think they'll reveal some of her like deeper relying issues, like, oh, like this is where she was in the past. She was in a bad growing up situation. Like, she was in a bad this, blah, blah, blah. It's how she got to where she's at. And like, she's looking for money, but there's this guy that she's dating, Bonnie and Clyde style, where, you know,
they just go out and rob banks.
They're just living purely off of like vibes. They're like date or with each other based on vibes and alone. And I don't know. I think she'll have some like badass moments to her, like where like maybe he'll like, oh, this isn't a good idea, and she's like, fuck that.
I cannot. That'd be funny.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm waiting for it. Funny. I think it'll be a good game.
I feel it would be interesting.
Yeah,
like I'm waiting on it.
I don't believe this game's coming out this year.
Nah,
we're 2 months away from it being 3 months away from it being the middle of the year, and it's supposed to release in fall, or at least this October.
No gameplay yet or anything.
There's no gameplay. There's only been one trailer. I just find it very hard to believe that this game's coming out this year.
Yeah.
So that's it. I don't know. How do you feel about this podcast episode, man?
I felt like
you got a lot off your mind. I can really start to see who you truly are.
No, yeah, and
you're a bigot.
Yeah, I am. I am a bigot. No, but I feel like this episode kind of expanded on what I thought, female protagonists are and what they're supposed to be, and what I should look for in the future.
Yeah.
And also now I need to reflect deeply on why I would play a female protagonist on any other game, but not in GTA. That's something I need to reflect on.
Yeah. see, I think the issue is like we never really thought about it before.
Yeah.
And now we're in a position where, like, not with the podcast specifically, but we're in a position where now it's being questioned. It's like when you're a kid and you don't question why you don't question why certain things are lower on the shelf in a grocery store. Obviously it's because you're there. They put certain things on the shelf for kids to get access to.
Yeah.
It's a whole marketing thing. But as a kid, you don't know that.
Yeah.
You just see the thing and it's there.
Yeah.
So, but now we're kind of questioning, like, well, why don't we feel any type of way when we play as a female character?
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily like, oh, why this character doesn't resonate with me, but in the sense of like, I never really thought about it before, but now I have to think about it. So I think that's kind of I think what you were saying, right?
I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
To be honest, I think it's just a preference thing. I think it's just a preference thing. More like,
I'm like, where you got to get close to that.
I
mic,
know,
baby.
I know. It's just more like a preference thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to GTA specifically, man.
I don't know. Just gotta wait and see.
I don't know, cause imagine you're walking in GTA, right, and then somebody's like, "Damn!" like looking at your wagon.
The yams.
I'd
be like, "Thank you."
I'm quitting the game. Like if I'm just like walking, and then
that's a compliment.
Huh?
That's a compliment.
I know, but then I'll feel violated, man. I'm like,
then I guess
I'll quit the game. I'm like, nah, I can't do this.
Then I guess that's how you kind of know how two women feel when they get catcalled.
That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah, but characters, NPCs don't do that to male characters at all.
Huh?
NPCs don't do that to male characters.
I know,
at all.
But in GTA, so you expect in Rockstar, you expect them to be explicit. You expect them to be like, I don't know, out there.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is if they didn't do that with like the characters in GTA 5, I don't see why they would add that.
What do you mean the characters in GTA 5?
You're talking about like the female protagonist, right? In GTA 6.
Yeah, like if you
if she's walking down the street and some guy catcalls her.
Yeah. But I'll be like, oh shit.
But like that, NPCs didn't have that capability in GTA 5, so why would they do that in GTA 6? Is what I'm saying. Like they didn't have that, so like why would they? To me, that doesn't make any sense. Why they would even add that?
Okay.
I feel like that's like an unnecessary ad, kind of like we were talking about of like you would want it, but like. But like I'm saying, like I just see it as like this. It's like unnecessarily adding parts of a character that don't need to be added for storytelling. Yeah. Like it doesn't reflect. Yeah, it doesn't add anything. Like I don't.
I know. It's just I don't know why. It's like how I'm expecting GTA 6 to be
like wild,
like almost real life.
Yeah,
like that's why I'm thinking that way.
Okay,
but I guess they have to keep it
mean, I just don't think that'll happen.
Okay, good.
If it hasn't happened in any GTA,
good.
I don't. I mean,
then we're good.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Then we're good. But would you play it if you keep seeing that? I mean, I don't care if you do. I don't care if you do. But to me, it would be.
That's a compliment.
A little bit weird. I mean, that is a compliment.
I'm kidding. I don't know.
That is a compliment. True, right? But it'll make me feel kind of weird. How's it different than somebody saying like to like a girl that came up to you and was like, "Damn, I could tell you got a big dick." You feel violated? Yeah, but I will play as a male. Oh yeah, I got a big dick. You know what I mean? Be like Cyberpunk. Fucking have that shit. Hey man, look.
All right, guys. Let's end it right there. That's where we're gonna end things. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the latest episode of the LeisureHub Podcast. This was an interesting podcast. We wanted to do something like this because it was different, and we definitely wanted to target the female demographic just a little bit with this one. Yeah, we scared them off. Yeah, I think if anything, we got a lot of rage brewing up in the comments. But we want to thank you guys for joining on this. This is also going to be potentially Pedro's last appearance potentially on the podcast for quite a bit. Unfortunately, you guys are stuck with me. Unfortunately. What was that? What? Okay. That was my Crocs. Your crotch. So unfortunately, you're stuck with me. I'll be trying to put up videos. They probably won't be as long as this one. We hit an hour and 14 minutes today. That's it? Yeah, that's it. Really? So they'll probably be a little bit more contained. Maybe I'll have some guest features. And maybe Pedro will even be on here sporadically at some moments. You never know. So. Pedro will be more like a guest than an actual host. When you say it like that, it's kind of like... Yeah, maybe you shouldn't even come back. Maybe you shouldn't come back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Be easy, but never sleazy. And remember, don't just put letters on your head just for your first initial. Put both letters. This has been brought to you by the Pot Boys. Forever and always. 10-4. What? How? I had to do it. Yeah, you had to. One last time.